All right, guys. So let's quickly update. This is gonna be a short one. So Big Bear today, July 8th, Tuesday. Stock popped all the way to the 872, and this area 786. This was the resistance I was watching. So essentially gave back today's initial pop in the morning. So this stock is so 100% or so in the last 2 weeks essentially, with a pretty decent volume. It did melt up. I'm not sure specific company news. I'm sure that there are people saying that they deployed some software at the airport checks like TSA and stuff. Well, that was 100% move. Okay, increased the valuation double, so from 1 billion something to 2 billion something. Okay, so now there are sellers here. I think these are profit taking levels. It doesn't mean that the stock has to come crashing down. Implied volatility has to cool off. Maybe it will cool off, so maybe it will chop around up until option expiration, or maybe it will pull back, or maybe it will go up. But my risk reward essentially 50-50, meaning if I want to go long at 8, well, my reward is $2. So because I know 10 is going to be pretty decent resistance and a psychological level as well, and downside potential as well, $2. There's a gap between this 588 and 620, so maybe this gap will get filled. So it's kind of in a choppy area. So right now, well, if volume declines, I would pretty much assume that volatility will cool off, and if you're trading calls and puts, you will get pretty much, if the stock chops, if volume goes lower than it was in the past 2-3 weeks, the calls and puts both will lose value as implied volatility will start crushing and the range of the stock gets tighter and tighter. So they're not reporting up until July 31st, and this is when we have FOMC as well, I think, right? So the rate decision. But yeah, we need some sort of a catalyst for this stock to get going. But right here, right now, I think people are taking profit, and 750 is your 5-day moving average. And I'm seeing some orders that are were coming in the last 3-4 days, because I wasn't talking about this one for the last 3-4 days, but it was on my watch list. Today it did trigger this breakout, but again, it just gave it all back, and it's kind of flat today. Okay, and in terms of Russell as a whole, IWM, it's holding up there too. But again, I think up until maybe Fed, maybe it will get going, maybe it will not. I'm not sure. But rate cut probabilities have to shift as well. Overall market, hit all-time highs, but Russell 2000 definitely lagging. So Big Bear, 5-day moving average at the moment, this was pretty much very orderly melt up, acting as a support, and this is the area I would be watching so far. But if it loses that 750, then I would be watching that gap fill area essentially. Again, I'm not expecting it to come crashing down to let's say 4, which there's a probability of happening as well, but it's very low. But also, if it just chops around, this is when it will kill the most premium. So one way I can show you guys is right here, where this line represents at the bottom implied volatility, IV, average true range, however you want to call it. Essentially, this measures volatility, which has gone up since June. And average true range for the stock, the average volatility was very low. It was moving 30-40 cents a day. Now it has 70 cents range a day. So if stock just gets pinned, this IV could crush, which would essentially destroy the calls and puts. In terms of people buying calls and puts, I'm not seeing it. So if for me to personally to catch something to the long upside, I want to see big flows, I want to see stock breaking out, and I want some sort of a catalyst. So I'm not seeing that. I'm not trading it. But again, if you traded early, if you got in early, well done. But I'm pretty sure people just taking profit along the way, and risk reward, just like I said, 50-50 for me personally. I'm not saying that you should buy this stock or sell this stock, but I'm not seeing much of a volume in terms of like people trying to come in, buy calls. I'm not seeing much. And there's a lot of probably like put selling and call selling happening. But again, it's just not too much of a excitement for me personally, like nothing just standing out where like if people would come in and buy short dated calls aggressively, let's say 10 strike, if people started buying 10 with crazy volume, sure, I would have suspected that there's something brewing underneath the surface, but I'm not seeing much of a volume, okay? And at the same time, IV is expensive. It got a little expensive now. It is implying up until their reported earnings, which is August 1st. Okay, we'll take a look at August 1st. $2.68 up or down. So it can move up until August 1st. So that's that's what option market is pricing. That's what option market is implying. So yeah, that's the quick video for Big Bear. I think it can be just in an IV crush mode for a bit and choppy and maybe even pull back. But I think, yeah, there are people taking profit at these levels, which makes sense. So that's the update. This is not a buy or sell recommendation. This is purely for educational and entertainment purposes only. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Peace.